It's too much of a mess. I'm gonna kick you out. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the basement sublet of horror. I am your host, Gunther Dedmund, returning with you for another film, and tonight we've got a classic for you, William Castle's House on Haunted Hill, starring Vincent Price, made in 1959. William Castle, of course, was known for putting gimmicks into the theaters as the films played. I'll give you more about that later. Let's go right off to our film, but don't be afraid.
Time for you to be asleep, Billy.
I'm not a bit sleepy.
You have to get up early tomorrow, remember?
Oh, I don't want to go to bed yet.
It's bedtime and sleep time. Now, put these things down. Now get under the covers and out with the lights.
Mom, I'm always awake for ages after the lights are out.
Oh, don't worry. You'll fall asleep right away. You'll be asleep before you know it. Good night, Billy.
Good night.
Where is everybody?
It isn't a very warm welcome, is it?
Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
Are we all strangers to each other? Don't you two know each other?
I'm afraid I don't even know your name.
I'm Nora Manning.
Lance Schroeder.
Is Frederick Lauren a friend of yours?
I've heard of him, but I've never met him.
I work for one of his companies, but I've never seen him.
I've never met the man either. Just a phone call. Do you know him?
No,
Well, then you're the only one of us who does.
I don't know him. All the details about renting the house were done by mail.
He's quite wealthy, isn't he?
Millions.
And 5 wives, I believe.
4, I think, so far.
A $50,000 party for only 5 people is a little steep, even for a millionaire.
Well, if I were going to haunt anybody, this would certainly be the house I'd do it in.
Who closed the door?
This thing's made of solid steel.
Sometimes when you become afraid, there isn't anything that's really dangerous. Sometimes you think things are dangerous when they're not. Sometimes you and most other people grow afraid even when they know there's nothing dangerous.
This is what she used on my brother and her sister. Hacked them to pieces. We found parts of the bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that. But no heads.
The wife, probably in a rage, threatened her husband with a knife and then, carried away by hysteria, took a swing at him and simply went on from there.
Well, she certainly went on. How many people did she kill, Mr. Pritchard?
Only 2. Her husband and her sister. No one else was here.
So there are 2 loose heads just floating around in here somewhere?
You can hear them at night. They whisper to each other and then cry.
Since our host isn't here, would anyone care to mix me a drink?
Certainly. What will you have?
Good evening. I'm your host, Frederick Lauren. Since we're all strangers to each other, let's get acquainted with a drink, shall we?
Mr. Lauren, I advise you to call this party off now. The ghosts are already moving, and that's a bad sign.
Let me apologize for my wife. She'll join us later. What do you have?
Scotch and.
Doctor?
I'll have the same.
Now, before the party begins, let's go over the details. The caretakers will leave at midnight, locking us in here until they come back in the morning. Once the door is locked, there's no way out. The windows have bars that a jail would be proud of, and the only door to the outside locks like a vault. There's no electricity, no phone, no one within miles, so no way to call for help.
Like a coffin.
So if any of you decide not to stay for the party, you must let me know before midnight. Of course, if you leave, I shan't be able to pay you anything.
I'm interested in your reasons for this, party. Aside from the pleasant company.
Ghosts, Doctor. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost.
Billy's mother didn't know the real reason why he didn't want to go to bed. When he was left alone in the dark bedroom, Billy became frightened. He didn't understand about fear, that fear is a natural thing and nothing to be ashamed of, and that there's a way to go about getting over some fears. So,
Well, my wife has given us all the opportunity to find out.
Amusing. Ghosts, etc., being only creations of hysteria, your party should be a success.
Well, Pritchard here promises us genuine ghosts.
7 now. Maybe more before morning.
That's cheerful.
4 men have been murdered in this house. And 3 women.
You planned your party very well, Mr. Lauren. 4 of us are men, 3 are women. Well, a ghost for everybody.
Well, Pritchard, why don't you take us on a tour through the house and let's see what happens, huh?
See that stain? Blood. A young girl was killed here. And whatever got her wasn't human. Don't stand there.
What do you mean? Where?
It's too late. They've marked you.
Ridiculous. The roof probably leaks.
Oh, that must be what it is. Who would want to haunt me?
I would say any self-respecting male ghost.
I hope it doesn't come back.
Well, Mr. Pritchard, you're the life of the party.
He hasn't even started yet. Wasn't there a man who threw his wife into a wine vat or something?
That was in the cellar. There's been a murder almost every place in this house.
They found Frank down in the basement. His report card had some bad grades on it, and he was afraid of what his mother and father would think. Maybe even that they'd stop loving him. Of course, he found out that he shouldn't have been afraid, that his parents would go on loving him no matter what grades he made.
All this belonged to a Mr. Norton, who didn't die here. He was electrocuted later. Mr. Norton did a good deal of experimenting with wines, but his wife didn't think it was any good. So he filled the vat with acid and threw her in. She was supposed to stay down, but the bones came up. It's a funny thing, but none of the murders here were just ordinary. Just shooting or stabbing. They've all been sort of wild, violent, and different.
Look out!
God, she didn't fall in.
You mean there's still acid in there?
Destroys everything with hair and flesh. Just leaves the bones.
Well, there's a cure for that upstairs.
Come on. How'd you get invited to this party? No. No, go on. I mean, what'd he tell you?
Mr. Lawrence said everybody'd get $10,000.
But he didn't say anything about being locked in.
No.
He just made the deal with me on the phone, but nothing about having to stay.
Aren't you going to stay?
If I don't, I lose $10,000.
I'm going to stay, too. $10,000.
Yeah. You believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Boy, I've never seen so many doors.
He had another fear. He was afraid he might be called a coward by his friends. He had to decide which was the real fear. Do you think he decided correctly?
Does it go anywhere?
Lance! Lance!
See what I mean?
Please, come on.
Did she say Lance is gone? Gone where?
Lance has disappeared, and Nora has been terrified by a creepy old woman gliding across the floor. Oh, it's just so creepy. She's the cleaning woman. You didn't hear that from me. Let's take a break. And now, back to the basement sublet of horror. The next segment of our film goes into a subject that is very close to me. It deals with my own personal fear, a fear that terrifies me so much that I wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, trembling with fear.
The house-to-house salesman symbolizes in a way the function of all salesmen, which is to bring goods or services to the attention of the consumer and to help the consumer buy.
We'll have to break it down. It's locked.
Locked?
You all right?
Nothing that money won't cure. I must have bumped my head.
And the only way you could bump your head in here is to run head on into the wall. You didn't do that, did you? Let's get a bandage on that.
I wonder why they didn't kill him.
Who?
He didn't bump his head. They hit him.
They?
Nora, when you came in, you said something about a ghost.
There was something.
What did it look like?
Well, it was wearing a black thing that went all the way to the floor.
Weren't you a little frightened at the time?
Well, yes. Do you remember what happened a few weeks ago, that Sunday morning? I was making breakfast. Do you remember how the bacon fat poured over the stove and caught fire? I was terribly frightened. Your father was frightened, too. Then he remembered an old trick about putting out grease fires, and he quickly smothered the flame.
That, Mr. Loren, is hysteria.
But then, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria, too?
You better get that checked in a day or so.
Thanks, Doc. Wait for me in the hall.
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Loren.
You really believe in your pet ghost, don't you, Pritchard?
Before the night's over, you will, too.
Someone or something was in here when I came in. But where? And if the door was locked, how did it get out? What you saw might have been a ghost, Nora, but what was in here with me was no ghost.
I don't know. I was so scared.
Does it sound different to you?
Yes.
Three, 6, 9, 12. 12 feet.
There isn't anything that's really dangerous. Sometimes you think things are dangerous when they're not. Sometimes you and most other people grow afraid even when they know there's nothing dangerous.
3, 6. Now, I'm going to knock on the other wall. When you hear me, you knock on this wall. Tap lower down. Where'd it come from?
From in here.
What if it ran out of here? I'd have seen it.
Lance, it doesn't run. It just floats.
Yeah, but why didn't I see it?
You don't believe me.
How can I?
Hello, Prudential. What'll it be this morning? Coffee?
Yes, Gracie. Cup of coffee before I start out.
Why the worried look?
Worried? Oh, no, Gracie. I was just wondering where I'm going to find some more prospects.
Prospects? What are they?
Prospects, Gracie, are people who need insurance.
People approachable under favorable circumstances, in need of insurance, able to pay for it and acceptable as risks.
Come with us. Come with us before he kills you.
There are many types of selling careers, from that of a retail store sales clerk to that of a television salesman. There are careers in selling by telephone.
I think she's just a little upset, not hysterical.
Where's Nora? Miss Manning.
I don't want to stay here.
Nora, what happened? That's Jonas Slides and his wife. They've been caretakers here for years. She's blind, you know.
I'm not going to stay here.
Good evening.
Hello, my dear. This is my wife. These are our guests.
Take it easy, Jim, old man. Take it easy. You've gotten over tougher hurdles than this before. Prospects are all around you, wherever you go.
Is that so?
Of course it's so.
I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night. $10,000 apiece. If any of you don't survive, $50,000 will be divided amongst the rest of you. If I should die, you will be paid by my estate. When the door is locked from the outside by the caretakers, we'll all be forced to stay in this house until morning. If any of you decide not to stay, you must leave with the caretakers now. You won't have a chance to change your minds later, because there'll be no way to get out.
Success comes from sales. Sales come from interviews. Interviews come from prospects. There are really 5 fundamental factors in successful prospecting. Remember 1. Prospecting requires awareness.
I don't want to stay.
Wait.
It isn't midnight yet. Who told them they could leave?
They never leave before midnight.
Well, they've gone now. I was going to ask you whether you wanted to stay or not, but it seems that the caretakers have made the decision for you. We're all locked in now.
But I don't want to stay.
And I'm sorry, my dear, but it's too late now.
Darling, haven't you had enough of this silly game? Get some cars up here for these people and let them go home. But pay them first.
This is your party, remember? In spite of my wife's faith in my ability to do the impossible, we will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock in the morning. But we have some party favors for you in these little coffins. This is my wife's idea. I must say, I think it's rather dangerous. I suppose you all know how to use one of these things, but in case you don't, you just press down on this lever with your thumb and then pull the trigger. You see, they're loaded.
These are no good against the dead, only the living.
Doctor? Lance? Nora?
Go ahead, take it.
Miss Bridges? And here's yours, dear.
I don't need it.
It was your idea. Who knows, you may want to use it on me before this night is over.
Throw these guns away. They won't do you any good.
I agree with Pritchard on that point, although not for the same reason.
Dr. Trent, don't you approve of our little party favors?
Suppose Nora had had a gun when she mistook the blind woman for a ghost.
I don't think anyone else is going to walk around in total darkness. Oh, I'm sure we're not going to go running around the house shooting each other, aren't you?
Who knows? Fear makes people do amazing things.
Mr. Pritchard, you said your sister-in-law killed a man and a woman here and cut them up? You said they found hands and feet, but they never found any heads. Would you like to see one of those heads? Would you all like to see one of those heads? Well then, just follow me.
Behind every application for insurance lies the 5 fundamental factors that make prospecting the necessary partner of successful salesmanship.
Nora, I think you're a little upset. Would you care for a sedative?
Get out! Get out, all of you! All of you, get out of here and leave me alone! Just get out of here!
You think it's all right to leave her by herself, Doctor?
I wish she'd taken the sedative.
Well, what do you suppose she thought she saw?
They're closing in on her.
Look, Doc, I think somebody ought to stay with her.
There could be 1 million people around her. But if they wanted her, they'd get her.
What if he's right?
Oh, he's too drunk to know what he's talking about.
I wonder. I'll join you in a minute.
Do you think it would do any good if you went in and talked to her?
Well, do you think there really was a head in her suitcase?
I don't know.
Are you sure there are only 7 people in this house?
Positive, except for the ghosts.
I don't believe in ghosts, nor in frightening women. In Nora's case, it's gone far enough. Perhaps too far.
What do you suggest we do about it, Doctor?
Don't frighten her anymore.
Ready for sleep now?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, darling. Good night. What about the light, Billy?
Tell you what, Mom. Leave the door open a little instead, will you?
That's fair enough. Good night, son.
Everyone's been tucked off to bed, thinking that they'll rest the rest of the night away and collect their money, or will they? Let's take a break. We return now to the basement sublet of horror. Looks like Lance will get ahead in his career in selling. Let's go back to our training film for this evening.
Nora? Nora?
Thus ends a day in this salesman's life. How attractive does this life seem to you?
Nora! Nora!
He sizes up his customer further. His eyes are alert to indications of the customer's needs.
What do you know about this?
They've taken her. In a little while, she'll be one of them.
Where's Norton? Where is she?
It's too late. It's too late. You'll never find her again.
Pritchard, if you know where she is, you better tell me now.
She's gone. She's gone with them. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Getting to be a good judge of people, that's basic to salesmanship. How good a judge of people are you?
Nora?
She's dead, Mr. Lauren. Your wife hanged herself.
Suicide.
Nora,
Lance, hide me. Please, hide me.
what's the matter?
Hide me. He tried to kill me. He grabbed me and choked me and put me in that room.
The good salesman helps the buyer. The measure of his success is not how many sales he makes, but how many customers he satisfies.
And then he went away and left me.
Who?
He thought I was dead.
Who?
Mr. Lord.
Are you sure about this?
I don't know. It was dark, but it must have been him.
Has anybody seen you since he left you?
I heard some people in that room, but I went by and nobody saw me.
Mrs. Lauren is dead.
But how?
Lauren said she committed suicide, but I think somebody killed her.
Him?
I'm sure you've come to the same conclusion I have.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's all have a meeting, discuss what to do. The living room?
Okay, in a minute. I've got to go downstairs. Now, you lock yourself in here and don't let anybody know you're here. If he thinks you're dead, he won't come here. And I'll get back as soon as I can. You'll be all right. And if you have to, you use it.
Well, well, well. Hello, buddy. Glad to see you. Shake.
So beautiful. So greedy. So cold. What are you doing in here?
Wait. Don't wait.
What do you mean coming in here?
I didn't want them to take her away.
You're drunk.
They will if you don't watch her.
You're drunk. All right, out with it, Bridget. Why did you come into this room?
I'm the only one who understands.
Understands what?
Your wife isn't there anymore. She's already joined them.
Look, Bridget, I've had enough of your spook talk. Get out, you sot, and don't come back into this room again.
Where's what's-her-name?
I brought you some candy, buddy. There you are.
Thank you very much. My, it's a beautiful box.
Isn't there some way we can get out of this house now?
No, none at all.
We could try breaking out.
The only door to the outside is made of steel. The bars of the windows are set in solid stone. We gotta stay.
I'm not afraid of your ghosts, Pritchard. But I am afraid.
He's doing much better now, isn't he?
Yeah. Gee, Mom, it does help a lot to talk things over.
When we came here a few hours ago, the only thing we had in common was the $10,000 we'd get. Now, however, we share something else. The death of Mrs. Lauren. So far tonight, one of us was almost killed by a falling chandelier. One of us was mysteriously slugged. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute hysteria. And one of us is dead. Were these accidents? Suicide? And we must stay here for 6 more hours.
6 hours? 6 of us. Time enough.
Pardon me, Irving, but I have work to do. Silly people coming around and fooling and joking.
What are you doing, Betty?
Building a house.
Mind if I smoke?
Don't care if you burn.
All right, I will. Oh, boy.
Who'll be next? How will it happen?
Let me ask you a question, Doctor. You were the first one to see my wife there. Did you also see anything that she could have climbed up on and then jumped?
No.
Did any of you?
Do you think your wife killed herself?
No. She was murdered by one of you.
Or you, Mr. Lauren. To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason.
We were all strangers to your wife. Only you had a motive for murder.
What husband hasn't at some time wanted to kill his wife? What husband hasn't had 1,000 opportunities to do it in such a way so that he'd never be suspected? I'm not such a fool as to hang my wife from a ceiling by a rope.
The fact remains that you, or one of us, murdered Mrs. Lauren. And that's a matter for the police.
So how do we get the police?
That's my point. We can't until morning. What began as a silly party given by an eccentric has now involved us all in murder.
For once, Pritchard may be right. If another murder's in the works, let's stop it now.
Another murder?
Why not? Maybe one of us saw too much.
Trying to joke around when I'm so
Hey,
dizzy.
somebody's got a hold of me. Oh, hey, Betty. Betty, come here quick. I can't get away. Oh. Oh, can you beat that? I thought somebody had a hold of me.
I just can't. If I don't lose my temper, I'll...
Oh, this isn't getting us anywhere. Somebody killed Mrs. Lauren. We know that. One of us is guilty and the rest of us are innocent, okay. Now, what we have to do for the next 6 hours is protect ourselves from each other.
Do you really think?
I don't think anything. I just know that I'm going to my room. And if anybody comes in, I'll shoot him. Or her.
And if we all stay in our rooms, we'll be safe. Because the innocent will have no reason to leave his room. And the guilty will admit his guilt if he or she does.
And we all have guns.
And we're all agreed?
Oh, I wish this night were over.
Rooms? Guns? I tell you, it doesn't make any difference. They aren't through with us yet.
And all my life trying to fool around like that when I'm so busy.
Hello, Betty.
Oh, Grampy, that practical joker Irving is annoying me. What shall I do?
Irving, eh? You send him to me, Betty.
Oh, thanks, Grampy. You're a darling.
A practical joker, huh? Now, let me think. Guess I can show him a couple of jokes. I do. Oh, dear. Ah! Hooray! I've got it!
I had an apartment like that once, where the leaky toilet upstairs would leak through the ceiling and drip down. Well, it was disgusting. And so is this movie. Well, anyway, let's go back to it so we can get it over with. Let's take a break.
And now, back to the basement sublet of horror.
Hello, I'm back again. I'm using my sonic psychic extractor helmet to try and determine what's going to happen in tonight's film. Oh, wait a minute, I already know. Oh well, you don't. Go find out.
Nora, it's me, Lance. You okay? They've all gone to their rooms and locked themselves in.
Lance, I've been thinking. It was so dark down there. Maybe it wasn't Mr. Lorne.
It was him, all right. He tried to kill you, and he did kill his wife. Now, there must be a way out of this place, and I'm going to find it and get the police before he does.
I'm going with you.
What if he finds out you're alive? No, Nora. You're safer here than any place else. Now, just lock yourself in and keep quiet. If I find a way out, I'll come back and get you.
What do you want?
Irving, please take this cake to Grampy.
Okie doke. I hope I don't spill it. Here we are. The last firecracker. Just a minute. I guess I'm all set. Now for the fun.
An admission of guilt, Doctor?
Certainly not. There's either somebody else in this house or one of us has left his room. Did you hear anything?
Organ music?
That, and someone walking.
You got yours? Ready?
You look downstairs, and I'll look up here.
Why not together?
There may be only minutes, seconds left of someone's life. Why waste time?
Ta-da! Hello, Irving. Hello, Grampy. Betty sent this cake. Well, alley-oop. Say, that's a fine-looking cake, Irving. Sit down, Grampy. Thanks. Oh, a practical joker, huh? I'll fix him. Boy, he'll never get over this one. That's no practical joke. That hurts. Irving, will you get me some plates? Some plate, dokey, okey dokey.
It's almost over, darling. Every detail was perfect.
What's happening?
We've done it. A perfect crime. Beautiful.
Has she killed him?
Not yet, but she will.
He's a wise guy. I'll fix him. Oh! Hey, what is this? Hey, let me out of this place. Oh, I thought it was no. Oh, here it is. Let me out. Oh, my hand. Oh, hey! Oh, get me out of Oh! Out you go!
Get me out of this hanging harness. What's taking that girl so long? What time is it?
At first, I couldn't get Nora to want to protect herself with a gun. But after you appeared at the window, everything began to work just as we had planned. You were wonderful. Just the touch that finally drove her into complete hysteria.
It'll be worth all of our planning, darling. Where's Nora now? What's happening?
On her way to the cellar. So scared she'll shoot the first thing that moves.
And Frederick?
On his way to the cellar, too. Nora is sure Frederick murdered you. She thinks Frederick attacked her in the cellar, not me. And now Nora's almost out of her mind with fear. The heads, the music, you're hanging. I tell you, when Frederick walks in there, she'll shoot him. When you hear the shot, come down to the cellar.
David? David?
At last you've got it all. Everything I have. Even my life. But you're not going to live to enjoy it. Come with me, murderess. Come with me. The crime you two planned was indeed perfect. Only the victim is alive and the murderers are not. It's a pity you didn't know when you started your game of murder that I was playing too.
Come on, let's celebrate. Now, Betty, we can enjoy our cake. How you like that?
It's him. He's alive.
You didn't shoot anyone, my dear. I loaded your gun with blanks. I can tell you all now. Trent and my wife were planning to kill me. They failed. Trent tried to throw me in the vat. My wife stumbled and fell. I'm ready for justice to decide if I'm innocent or guilty.
Now there are 9. There'll be more, many more. They're coming for me now. And then they'll come for you.
As I told you at the beginning of tonight's film, William Castle liked to throw gimmicks into his films. For one film, The Tingler, he actually would wire a seat with electricity and send a spark through a patron of the theater, making him scream and rise out of his seat. So, for The House on Haunted Hill, what he did, during the scene when the skeleton comes out of the vat of acid, a skeleton would appear in the theater and glide through the theater on a wire, terrifying the patrons and sending them screaming into the lobby so that the people coming into the next film would think, what's going on? Or the other way I heard it was that at the end of the film, when the guy says the ghosts are coming after you now, then you get the idea. So there's a bit of trivia for you. Just remember, don't be afraid. Off to bed with you now. Tuck yourself in. There are no ghosts. Just tell yourself that. There are no ghosts, especially ones after you. Tune in next week, my friends, for the Basement Sublet of Horror. And until then, good night, my friends.